Hello there everybody, and welcome again to the second episode of my TV channel about Qlik World. My name is Daniel and I'll be your guide in this episode. How are you? I hope everybody is okay. And we will start right off by remembering what we talked about in our last episode. We were talking about Qlik View, Qlik Sense, Qlik World, and we were talking about reference and context. I mentioned that in Qlik, in BI in general, but specifically in Qlik, when we want to emphasize something, we want to tell the user something, give it new information, we usually use reference. We take some numbers, we take some measures, and we present them to the user with reference to other measures. We preview the total sales of 1 year and we compare it to the total sales of another year. We take the inventory of one warehouse and we compare it with the inventory of another warehouse. And to do that, we are using something that in Qlik Sense is called set analysis. And this is the main topic of the last episode and this episode, and we're going to continue talking about it in this episode. Last week I mentioned the syntax of set analysis. I mentioned how exactly set analysis works in the system, in the layout. We talked about context. What do I mean by context? We said that every expression in Qlik has a context in which it operates. And this context decides or determines what will be the outcome of the measure. Like for example, here we have the same formula, the same expression, sum of total sales. This is the expression, sum of total sales. And we use it in different places and we get a different result. This is because in each object, Qlik Sense is considering the dimension values and is splitting the value, the total value, in this case 170 million, for each value in the industry field. In this case, automobiles, banks, capital goods, etc., etc. And we can do it even further by introducing another dimension, and the same formula, the same sum of total sales, is used again, but this time it is considering and affected by the combination of the dimensions customer group and industry. So we have 1,324,000 for automobiles direct and 541 for automobiles partner, etc., etc., etc. So we show how the same expression, the same formula is appearing differently depending on the context. In this case, the object in which it resides, either in the sheet with no dimension, either in an object with one dimension, or an object with multiple dimensions. And we further went on and showed how we can influence how Qlik reacts or interacts with this with this context by introducing the total qualifier, which we can put in each aggregate function. In this case, sorry, come here, in each aggregated function, and it tells Qlik Sense actually to disregard all the sorry, do it. 1 second. I didn't do it. Because I did it on the look at this. I did we can learn from this. I put the total qualifier, but I put it in the formula, that in the expression that is inside the text box. And here we don't have any dimension, so the result is always going to be the total. What I should have done was take this same formula and put it here. Sorry, here, cell instead of this one, and now I have the value 173 million all all over the lines of the object, because we told it ignore the industry, but it still has a line for each industry, so it has to put something in this line, and it puts the same number in each of the lines. The same will happen if I take the same formula and put it here. I will get the value spread out on the entire column. We further showed how we can modify this this qualifier, the total qualifier, with triangle brackets. We put only the dimension we want to keep, sorry. This customer industries, right? And this actually ignores only the customer group. So we have the same number for automobile for different customer group, the same number for banks, but even if it's different customer group, etc., etc. And this is one context we talked about. We talked about another context. We talked about another context, and this context is the context, sorry, here. Let's add a dimension. Say city name. Put it here. And now, when we select something, again, we see that there is a change in the numbers that are shown, because this time QlikSense not only takes into account the object, the dimension and the objects, it also takes into account the context of the current selection in which it runs. That means currently I have only selected 4 cities, and in Qlik only the number in the entire data model that are associated with these 4 cities are currently available to me. So when I calculate the total sales, let's put another number here, another list box of total sales. There it is, total sales, let's look for it. Total sales, we put it here. So when I selected these 4 cities, I have a certain amount of values that are available. Remember, available is possible, is green or white. The rest is gray. That means all the values that are gray are values that are not associated with the 4 cities that I have selected. So Qlik has an easy job when it wants to calculate the same formula in the context of the selections. It just runs on the white values, white and green values, and it gets him the number. Here is the total number for all the industries, for the 2 industries that I selected, and here it since it ignores the customer group, it splits the number between the industries, etc., etc. And I've also mentioned that the context of the current selection comes before QlikSense goes inside into the objects to calculate what should be written inside the objects. And again, I will explain. When QlikSense wants to calculate the formula sum of total sales, like I said, it just has to run, take all the values in the field total sales that are either green or white. That means they're either selected or they are possible due to another selection, and sum them if the aggregation function is sum. So this is actually, it doesn't have to do anything. It just always QlikSense calculates in every aggregated function. It only aggregates the white and the green values. So we say that it considers the context of the selection, but actually it doesn't do anything different. It is always only calculating the white and the green number. And after the QlikSense decided which are the green and white values in the field that the formula is inside, that we use in the formula, in this case total sales, Only then it goes inside the object and tells itself, okay, now we have all the values that of total sales. Now we have to see which of these values belong to customer, durable, and apparel, and sum them and put them here. Which values are consumer, pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and life sciences, and put them here, etc., etc. It actually runs in a loop. It goes over all the combinations of values in the object, except those that are excluded by the total modifier, and calculates for them the green and the white values. And this way it has something to write in each of these cells. So we talked about the set analysis. We talked about the context of the current selection, and we said the same as total qualifier can modify how Qlik Sense regards the context of the object. Set analysis is the tool to help us modify and versify and use the context of the selection in such a way that we actually are able to tell Qlik, you don't pay attention to the context of the current selection. I'll give you a new selection, a new context to go by, and you will calculate the expression that I'm giving you based on this context and not on the context that the current selection provides you with. And then we took a look on the structure of the. I'm just doing a small summary, and I will continue in a few minutes. So we took we started to talk about the syntax of set analysis. We said that set analysis always comes. Let's put it in. Mind and make another object, charts, take some images. Here we'll use it inside the measure, so we can come in here, and we have set analysis. Something is wrong. Yeah. I don't know why it always puts the parentheses outside when it's copied from the. Okay, so here we have the syntax of set analysis. So first of all, set analysis is always inside aggregation function. In this case, the function is the expression is sum of total sales. And then the same as I have used the total qualifier with the triangle brackets, I can instead or plus use the set analysis expression, which, like I said, tell Qlik Sense, okay guy, you are now not working with the context of the current selection, you are working with the context of selection that I am going to define for you. So the syntax of set analysis is that I always use curly brackets. This is where I put the set analysis, and I can only do it inside some kind of an aggregated function. I mentioned last time that actually in Qlik Sense all expressions are expecting to receive an aggregated function, except if it's an expression, some place that expects a single value. Even then I can use an aggregated function, but never mind. So we have an aggregation function, sum of total sales, and here we put the set analysis expression. We talked about identifiers. We mentioned that each set of records, each set of selections has an identifier, and we have some predefined. I did have. Second, I probably don't remember where I put it. Okay, never mind. So, like I said, inside again. Like I said, the first part of the set analysis is the identifier. We have a few identifiers. The most two that are usable is one. One actually represents the entire record set. and $, which represents the current selection. 1, when I do something with 1, let's take this expression and go here and use it, let's say here, and this formula, and I say 1. You see, now I don't have the total qualifier. I have the same I have the same total sales expression as I did before, but now it has a set analysis of 1, which actually tells it no matter what happens, no matter what the current selection of the users are, you are going to calculate the numbers based on the context of the entire set of rows, the entire set of data set, as if the user did not select anything. And if I will select some cities, you see the number here didn't change. And if I select some values, the number here didn't change, because it tells QlikSense to totally ignore everything I select. Now, if I take this formula and instead I use the $, that means QlikSense is now calculating let's enlarge it, calculating the entire set of records, but is sensitive to the values that I selected in the tables above. So I can see I have only value in consumer and durable pillar, because I have selected only one city or 5 cities. We will talk about it in a minute. I've selected a few cities, and only these cities, and I also selected a few figures of the value of the field total sales. So actually, all these values probably came from the same industry and the same city. So this is why I get the value only on this row. Let's deselect, for example, this, and I can see that these 5 cities has only one category, one industry that is connected with them. This is consumer durable and apparel. If I select another city or other cities, let's go somewhere else, select these 5 cities, I can see that only those 5 cities has purchased something only from the semiconductors industry and the utilities industry. So this is how set analysis work. Okay, so the same as we did with the, let's go to edit mode. Is anybody here? Yeah, we have somebody. Hi. Okay, so the same as we did with the total qualifier, we can do in QlikSense, Qlik, with the identifier. By the way, the dollar sign represents, like I said, the current selections. It's the same as if I didn't put anything, because the expression is also considering the current selection, whether I put the $sign or I don't put the $sign. But when does it come into an effect? When I can use the $sign because, or the one identifier, because it has a difference, is when I had the second part of the set analysis syntax. By the way, there are more identifiers, but for, let's say, 12, 13 years that I've been using Qlik, I never once used them. So I will send you to the help if you're interested, and you can check that out there. But they are of no use, mainly because they are too complicated to explain to the user what exactly is seeing, and because, I don't know, they are not usable. If you find a use to them, please let me know, and I'll use it. Thank you. So what I can do with the identifier is the same thing that I did with the total qualifier. I can give it a modifier. Okay, and here lies one of the strengths of set analysis syntax, because here is actually where I control the finer details of the selection. Here is exactly where I tell it on which rows and on which values I want it to be. 1 second. I'm sorry about that. I think there are more to come, but hopefully not too many. So, when I use the modifier, it has a set, of course. It has a certain syntax. Let's put it in the middle. It has a certain syntax. It comprises. It's made out of 3 parts. Okay. The first part is the name of a field. Field name. And here I can use any field name I want that is already loaded inside the data model. Let's say I will choose the ear field. After that comes the equal sign. Now here, this is not a logical operator. It doesn't tell me that whatever is on the left side is going to be equal to what is on the right side of the equal sign. This is an assignment operator. It actually tells me take what's on the right side of the equation and use it on the left side of the equation, and I will explain how I do it. But the element list, or the right part of the equation in set analysis, always comes with almost always. We will see some exceptions. Almost always comes with curly brackets. And inside the curly brackets, I give it a list of elements. And the list of elements should be corresponding with the values that we have in the field that is on the left side of the equal sign. In this case, it should be numbers, and it should represent numbers of ears that I know that are inside the data. So I know that I have 2015. So what I just said, what I've just done here actually, I told Qlik sense, and let's start this with 1. Remember, 1 is the entire record set. If I just use 1 as identifier, everything will not change when I make selections, because I told it no selections are allowed on the record set that you are going to calculate the value here. But here I'm telling it something a bit differently. I'm telling it, okay, I want you to start with the record set, with the set of all the records, all the rows, all the values in the data model, but I want you to go to the ear field and I want you to use only the value of 2015. And by doing that, I actually tell Qlik, take the value 2015 and go over all the other values that are associated with the value of 2015 in the field here, and mark them in your little place, in your little notebook where you mark them as white in this case. The value of 2015 in the field here will be marked green, and all the other values in the same row of the table which this field here is coming from, and all the other rows that are connected and associated, and all the other values that are associated with the year 2015 will also be painted white in this case. All the other values will be painted gray, or written in Qlik little notebook that they are gray, and that means they are excluded and shouldn't be inside any selection. And after the Qlik runs on all the fields and all the values and marks them as green, white, and gray, then it has an easy job. Now we can just go on to the total set field and sum all the green and white values. Okay? And this is why when I use the formula here, remember, what happens here? Because I have to, sorry, I have, what this is, I have this industry. Let's just change the number. I don't know why it doesn't put as default. If anybody knows, by the way, I'm supposed to know, I'm the guru, eh? But if everybody knows how to make it automatically select as auto a format with 1,000 separators, I would be very grateful, because I haven't found it yet. So anyway, so we have now, let's click on done and let's click on here, and now we have a different set of cells. You know what, let's put another formula, but this time without the set analysis at all, or you know what, we will put it without the modifier. We put the same expression as we did before, and now you see that I have, let's say, clear. So this formula represents the values of the entire data set, but this column only represents, let's give it proper labels, all cells, and this one is only 2015 sales. And let's make a change here, also number, we don't need the decimal points. Okay, so now when I have nothing selected, this one with the 1 identifier gives me the entire value. Remember, it calculates the formula over the entire record set, but since it's inside an object, it then goes and starts considering the context of the industry dimension and puts the different value in each row, in each cell. The same thing applies to the first column, to the other column, which is supposed to be only 215 cells. And the same applies here. First of all, Qlik Sense runs on all the associated values that are associated with 2015 in the year field. And only then, after it gets the $25 million sales, only then it goes inside the object and start considering the context of the object itself. Context of the object itself, and divides it according to the values inside the industry dimension. Okay, so this is basically the syntax of set analysis. 1 second, I will find where I left. Sorry that I let's do it in the beginning. 1 second. Sorry. Let's find this slide. We'll copy it very fast. I removed the slides after I did the last session, so you forgive me. Where it is, set analysis. There we are. Let's make another sheet. Let's put text and image and paste it here. Terrible. Okay, it's not gonna work, sorry. Let's do it like this. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Please forgive me. Let's take this and do it here. I'll put another text object, text image. this is too complicated. Sorry guys. I'm going to do it like this. Or is it window capture? Let's source. Paint. Okay, can you see it now? I had to put it on this. Let's put it the top. No. Okay, I hope you can see it now. Okay, so this is the entire set text. Sorry. Let's go again. I prepared a nice slide, but I couldn't find it, and I made the mistake of trying to do it live. So you forgive me, right, Chad? Because you are so nice, and we'll continue talking about the syntax of set analysis from here. So we talked about the qualifier, the modifier, sorry, the identifier and the modifier, and we showed how the modifier actually is modifying the values that are going to be selected in the field that is on the left side of the equation, of the equal sign. Okay, so basically what we put here should be in some way related to what is the values in the field that we are using on the left side of the. Now, this element list doesn't have to be literal. First of all, I can use multiple pairs. Remember, I said everything comes in pairs. So if we take the product category and I use the same curly brackets, I separated them with a comma, and I do this another pair. I give it a field name, the equal sign, and curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets I put a value that is by definition a value that should be a part of the values that are inside the product category. So again, what I'm telling Qlik Sense in this expression is calculate the sum of total sales, calculate it on all the possible rows. That means ignore every selection that has been made by the user, but go ahead and make a selection of 2015 in the field year and a selection of cheese in the field product category. And this is the same effect as if the user has gone to the field year and selected 2015 and gone to the product category and selected cheese and then opened an object which has the sum total sales with no set analysis at all. Another thing that I can put inside set analysis modifier is search. If you remember, or I don't know, maybe you don't remember, or maybe you don't know, whenever I come to a field, I can do a search in the field. The search can be literal. I can tell it I want to find all the values that begins with 0.05. I can tell it I wanted to give me all the numbers that ends with 75, etc. There are many, or anything that has 75 inside, and I put enter and it gets selected. But I can also give it a more robust search. I can come and give it a search like this. I can tell it, give me all the values that are bigger than 0.05 or 0.5. Okay, no points. Why not? Larger than 0.005. And only values that are larger than 0.005 will become available. Okay, I can tell it all the numbers that are smaller than 0.6, and it gives me all the numbers that are in 0.6. And I can be even more sophisticated in my search expression. I can, if I put the equal signs before it, I can tell it sum of field population is larger than 1 million. You see how the cities start disappearing? Okay, Abba, see here, Abba and Abadan don't have population above set, so I select, and only selections that are only cities that the population of the city is above the number that I put are getting selected. I can see it if I make a bookmark. I can see the expression of the set analysis, and this is something that only is available in Qlik Sense. It is not available in Qlik View. In Qlik Sense, when you make a bookmark, it shows you the set analysis expression that you can use to achieve the same results as the bookmark. And in our case, it's city name equals sum of population, and from this, let's copy this, or let's press the copy button. You can conclude that actually, if I come to this formula here, okay, and instead of these two values, I can, here I have an error, or instead or plus, I can put this also inside it, okay, without this, this, okay. So I can use the same formula or the same search expression that I use outside in the object. I can use it also in Qlik Sense set analysis. Main difference is regard the double quotes. Okay, when I'm going to use a search string inside the curly brackets and of the set analysis, I have to enclose it with double quotes, because single quote denotes a string. If I was to use a string here instead of double quotes, single quotes instead of double quotes, what will happen is that Qlik will start search for city name which is equal SUM, open parentheses, PO, etc., etc., etc. You will look for the string, for this string inside the city name, and if it exists, it will select it. It will not perform the same search that I wanted to do like I did outside of in the object. This syntax with the double quotes will force Qlik Sense to actually do the search on the field. So in this expression of set analysis, I tell Qlik View four things. First thing, I tell you, you're going to start with the records, with the record set that includes the entire values of the data model in your selection. So Qlik Sense runs and marks everything white. Because what happens when Qlik Sense has to calculate set analysis expression or aggregated expression that has set analysis, he has to make another array of the green, white and gray colors for each value, because the first array of green, white, and gray values belongs to the current selection, and now it has to make a new set of values with their green and white and gray for the specific set analysis that I have in my expression. So in the expression of sum total sales, Qlik Sense goes and mark all the values that are associated with the field 2000, with the value 2015 in the field year, and the value cheese and the product code, and all the city names that the sum of population is larger than 1 million, only for those values which are white or gray from the total sales and are associated with all those three conditions, only then those values will be included in our selection. I think somebody is trying. Ah, shit. Sorry. Now I understand what is going on. Everybody is seeing the screen and not. Sorry. My bad. No, come on, get out of here. Oh, I changed the wrong one. Oh, Daniel, what are we going to do about you? What are we going to do about you? I'm so sorry. Where is it? Okay. Now we are back here. Still not back here. Why not? Okay, can you see me now? Thank you, Merav. So I talked about all of this, and you didn't see anything, right? You saw the slide from before. My bad. Sorry. So where were we? Qlik Sense. Where is it? Okay, we talked about, I will show you what we talked about. We talked about the modifier, and I showed how I can put many things inside the modifier. I can put a number inside the modifier. I can put a string literal inside the modifier, the curly brackets, and I can also put a search string inside the curly brackets. Everything I put inside the curly brackets is telling Qlik, take the value and go ahead and select the value in the field that is on the left side of the equal sign. So here it tells it select the year 2015. Actually what it tells Qlik Sense is go on and this is the part I'm not sure. Does it go on all the values that are associated with the year 2015, or is it smart enough to only mark the values of the total sales, because this is the expression, this is the field that we are doing the aggregated function on top of it. But it doesn't matter for this discussion. Qlik Sense goes and marks all the values that are associated with the year 2015 in the field year, and all the values that are associated with the value cheese in the field product category, and all the, pay attention, I'm saying and, because this condition and this condition are connected by an and clause. This is year 2000 and cheese and population larger than 1 million. Only values that are associated with all three selections will be painted white in the field total sales, and consequently will be calculated in the sum expression. So when I come to this expression, I can see that I have nothing. No industry, no sales, no value of the field total sales is associated with those three conditions. So let's try and eliminate one of them. Let's say the year 2015. Still no sales. Let's remove both of them. And now we have some values. Okay, so we can see that some industries have sales to cities that the population is over 1 million. I can see that the media industry sold $120,000 to cities that the population of those cities is larger than 1 million. Okay, so this is one of the powerful things that I can do in set analysis in the modifier expression. Now, what I actually can do, I can use the dollar. As you can see here, I can use any expression and do anything as long as I get two things out of it. Either I get inside a double quote a string representation of some kind of formula that Qlik Sense can interpret as a search string, like this one, or it can be something like this one also. I can say I want only to select populations. Population equals larger than million. This sounds like the same thing, but here the selection is made on the field population. I tell it, take the field population and select only values in the field populations that are larger than 1 million, and then select all the values that are associated with these values. Okay? So it's kind of looking at this from the other side, but this is also something that I can put in set analysis. But I can also do something like this. Let's say I have a variable. I can come here and tell it, let's say I have a variable limit. Currently it has no value, but let's say it does. So actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and go to the variables, and we'll create a new variable, vLimit, and we put it to 500,000. And now we go inside the formula. I did that because I want to see why is it not calculating. It's the correct name. Okay. So actually, what I'm telling it, go calculate the total sum of all the values in the field total sums, except or all those values in the field total sum that are associated with the value of anything that is bigger than what's inside vLimit at the current moment. Only those values that are associated with these values of the population, only those total sales values you should sum. And on the bottom of the expression editor, also something that is not available in QlikView for all those QlikView dinosaurs. We can see that Qlik Sense open what's inside the dollar expansion, and actually puts inside the number, so to show me what it is. But I can also do something like this. Since I already have a dollar expansion, I can put another expression. I can put expression like this. Of course, it's not AMX, it's max. I forgot, sorry. My bad. I forgot to put the equal sign here. So here I tell it inside the curly brackets of the modifier of the set analysis, I have double quotes, which means QlikSense is expecting some kind of a search formula, a search string. I give it the larger than sign, so it knows that this is some kind of a search expression. But instead of giving him a literal or something else, I give him an expression surrounded with dollar expansion. So QlikSense says goes inside the dollar expansions, and he wants to replace what's inside the dollar expansion with the entire expression of the dollar expansion expression, if that makes any sense. But since we have the equal signs, so Qlik first goes inside here, calculates the expression, which in this case is 2015, and actually replaces 2015 inside the dollar expansion, and after that it replaces the dollar expansions entirely, and we are left here with year, which is bigger, population, which is bigger than, or if we return to the field here, which makes more sense, is larger than 2015. Okay, so actually what we had here is this expression surrounded by dollar expansion, and now I have it 1 year, and if I take the entire expression and put it here only sales, and we'll add another expression, or we use this expression instead, and here we will make -1, and we call it rev. Sales, and we didn't have anything bigger. What we did wrong? Let's see. We made an error. No? Here is bigger than 2014. What's wrong with that? For 15 we have values, but now I did something terrible. What I did wrong. Something is wrong. Let's put the year field. See, these are things that happens all the time in QlikSense. Let's put the list books of the field here. What do we have here? We have 2015, so why is it not calculating anything? Let's take this expression again, analyze it. It's probably because of this. Nope, still no. This one. Yes, some. I have no idea why it's not working. If I write instead of this, do I get something? Still not something. God. No. I'm lost. Sum of total sales here. Ah, Daniel, come on. Okay, I got it. Did you? We only have year 2015. This is the max here. I told it bring to me everything that is larger than 2015, but it doesn't have anything that is larger than 2015, right? Right. So we'll have to tell it to go -2, which is 2013. And now I have cells, and in this formula I'll just tell it to go -3. So it will give me everything from 2013 and onwards. Okay, so this is the syntax for the modifier of set analysis. I will stop here. I think 1 hour is enough. And next week we're going to talk about the modifiers, the operators, and many interesting things that we can do with it. So I hope you learned something. This recording, together with what I was able to scrape out from the last session recordings, I did find something. I will edit them and I will put them as a separate video in YouTube. And please click follow on my Twitch account, and when I start putting videos inside YouTube, please like them also there and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later when we talk about context in space. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Have a nice day, everybody.